Are you an aspiring entrepreneur with a brilliant idea but unsure where to begin? Tonight, we unlock the secrets to transforming your startup dreams into tangible success. Stay tuned as we guide you through the journey of bringing your vision to life. You don't want to miss tonight.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Better Your Business Show. I am Natalie, your host, and tonight we are talking about turning your startup idea into reality. We are missing my partner in crime, Miss Shannon Mavis. She is under the weather, so we are sending her positive vibes. Hopefully she's maybe able to join us in the audience, but we miss you, Shannon Mavis, of course. But I'm super excited to have with me tonight from behind the screen. He's always in the back of the house helping Shannon and I making all the magic happen, but it's always have him in the front of the house with me. So Carlton, if you could join me on screen, bring yourself up. Woo-woo! Carlton Hoskins, the founder of I Do Systems. And so I just want to touch on that a little bit because we just haven't talked a little bit about the background of I Do Systems and how we were able to connect and all that great stuff. But I Do Systems is really why the Better Your Business Show exists. And, 3 years in business now together. So it's just really exciting. Oop, I can't hear you.
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. And being in the back is always fun because I learned so much from all the experts that come onto the show and the conversations and the laughs and the jokes. So I just love absolutely it. And it's always an honor to be on this side of the screen as well. So thanks for having me, Natalie.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm excited to hear about the launch of the new product through I Do Systems, which obviously I know about because I am on the board of I Do Systems, right? And I Do Systems, what I Do Systems does is it helps put together systems so that businesses can run efficiently and scale. Anybody who's running a business should be running a system. So that's what I Do Systems does. So they've come up with Quant 88. So tell us a little bit about Quant 88, Carlton, and what it does.
Well, Quant 88 is an AI/human business plan builder. So that's what it does. It's really very simple, and it'll build a business plan out in 88 minutes or less. It builds a business plan, and it provides 87 additional supporting documents, hence contain the name 88 in the Quant 88. So and it's ideal for business owners that are, they have an idea, they're not sure what they want to do, they just have, or maybe they already have an existing business and they just never sat down and got a business plan or a marketing strategy or buyer's persona or any of those things. And it produces all those documents for them in the fraction of the time it would take to research any one piece of that information. So we're just utilizing technology and AI as the world continues to advance to make it easier for business owners to achieve their dreams. So that's our focus. It's always been our focus, helping entrepreneurs.
Yes, that's right. So who would be the ideal person to seek out Quant 88 or to use Quant 88?
Well, for me, I think the person that's most interested in Quant 88 is the person who already knows they need a business plan. They already know, this is something that I need, whether they just have an idea, they're working full time, 9 to 5, they go home in the evening and they keep thinking to themselves, I want to start a business. I want to be an accountant. I want to be a digital marketer. I want to run a landscaping company. I want to open up a hair salon. Whatever those things are, the first thing that they hear, whether they go to the SBA, the SBDCs, the women groups, or wherever they go, the first thing they hear is you need to put together a plan. You need to get your idea out onto a document that's going to guide you through the development of your business. We see it on Shark Tank all the time, right? Like, dude, where's your plan? You're just taking action, but there's no plan. And that means you really don't have a path to get where you're going. So needing a business plan, whether it's a one page or a lean canvas or comprehensive, any of those individuals that need that is there. And of course, your advisors. One of the things that I know as an advisor, and I advise clients today, is that we have to start from scratch in building up their plan and their strategies for their business. Now, what I do is simply just have them go, they get a Quant 88 plan, they get all 88 documents, and then we walk through the documents together as they're taking action. And it makes life so much easier because we didn't have to wait 6 months to get to that part. We can get to that part tomorrow. So it just speeds up. Really, thank you, AI, for helping us to speed up the process.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think of just even in my own, 20 years of being in entrepreneurship of, doing a new business plan, right? As soon as October hits, I'm like getting that plan ready for the following year. And, when I was running an agency, it was doing the same thing with all of my agents, right? Talking about what are their plans going through the year. Or if I had just recruited an agent, brought them on board with me, it was taking the time to put together that business plan. What do they want it to look like for them? And then putting the recipe of what does that look like for them to do it. So I'm literally spending 4 or 5 hours on the front end, depending on how many agents I have, to get this going with them. And so what I love about it is, like you said, it's 88 pages in, did you say 88 minutes? I think it was.
Yeah, 88 documents in less than 88 minutes.
Okay, see, and it's done. And then it's really kind of that next level conversation of, okay, how do we take it deeper? We have the tangibles. I'm going to assume it's not going to give the why behind why we're doing things with our business plan, right? It might give you the, recipe to follow, right? Half a cup of milk, a cup of flour, whatever your plan is there. It might not say why you're baking the cake. It might not have the emotional involvement. And then you just take it deeper from there. But to me, I think that it's so exciting because it really starts bringing the vision to life. And when you start seeing that vision coming to life, it shifts things. It's like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Wow, this is really happening. It's not as far as away as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Right. The level of faith and belief changes.
Well, absolutely. And I think that belief for us falls onto a technology side. It falls into AI. It's how comfortable are we with AI to say AI has the data to provide the result. So if we think about the things that we do when we're designing a business plan or when we have a business idea, to your point, Natalie, of it coming and it may not be complete. So let's just think about, if I'm going to build a business plan, well, there's sections in that business plan. There's the executive summary, there's the marketing plan, there's the operations, there's the sales plan, there's financial projections, there's your team, there's management, there's all these pieces, right? Who your buyer is, what your marketing, all of that stuff is there. What we don't think about when we're writing a business plan is each one of those components are actually separate. Now they all interconnect, but they're separate. So it requires, well, if I'm going to write a business plan, I also have to write a marketing strategy. I also have to do financial forecasting. I also have to do ... right? More and more and more and more things, right? And that's why those supporting documents are there, because those are the documents that help to develop the plan.
But I also have to learn how to run my business, and I also have to show up to whatever my location is every day, and I have to, and I have to, and I have to, and it just seems like a lot.
That's right. That's right. And we find ourselves, like I say, Google searching information, YouTubing information, talking to, other experts for information to complete just one simple section of what we do. And in fact, it's funny you said, you may get the information is not complete. Well, we just actually had that scenario with one of our customers who just bought their plan last week. In fact, they had a investor coming in town who was expecting to, wanting to hear their pitch. And so they ordered Quant 88. They took that 88 documents, they shared it with their CFO. Their CFO worked on that document for, getting all tweaked out. The next day, they used the information from that plan to pitch, and success. They got $1 million investor. So does that mean that the plan created the $1 million? No, but the plan gave them the data to do what they were doing. And it typically you'd have to write that plan from scratch. Well, now they didn't. And that CFO was so grateful. He was just like, oh my gosh, like that was fast.
Yeah, it's a completely different level of confidence. Like I'm getting fired up about it already. It reminds me of last week's show when I was talking about being in the field and helping people with their finances. And I get really excited. And like sometimes I'll like smack the table, or if I'm super comfortable, like if I was at your house, Carlton, I would like do a little dance, woo woo. And because it's like it just gets so exciting, your conviction, your confidence, what you're doing, right? You're so fired up, and that belief is so transferable. So when you go and have that conversation, they might not even understand what you're saying 100%, but the truth of the matter is they know you're fired up, they know you believe in what you're saying,
Right.
right? You are fired up, your vision just got stretched, you know where you're going like never before, right? It's tangible,
Absolutely.
it's on paper. And so yeah, it's getting me fired up right now, just us talking about it. But it's
It's
true.
just always one of those things, Natalie, that when we're thinking about building a business, the one thing we oh, I have this idea, and in our head that idea is mapped out, and then we have to find the information to support what we're saying, and then strategize off of that information to move in a direction, right? So all
Yeah.
experts would say you need a plan. Some would say you need a comprehensive plan. Some would say you would need a one-page plan. Some would say just go get a lean canvas, right? Either way, you should have all of those documents, because the more you have, the more prepared you are. So, we've just kind of spoken about how close the document was, enough for a CFO to get it the night before to pitch the next morning and to win that bid. So
Yeah.
it's not that far off, right? So that just means when you get your documents, it's not over. There's a little bit of tweaking in there, right? Because it doesn't know what your pricing plan is. So you have to give it some information, but it'll give you a pricing strategy based off of market conditions. And I think that's the difference. One of the questions, Natalie, that we heard, in fact, I just heard this question today from a master coach here in Arlington, Texas. Shout out to Colin Portis and Red Development. But one of her responses was, she was like, "Yeah, but how does it compare to Live Plan?" And it was funny because it wasn't the first time I heard that. How does it compare to Live Plan? Live Plan does something like that. Well, the difference between Quanta 88 and Live Plan is giving you templates, and it's asking you to walk through and fill out all the information in the template in order to create this plan for you. Quanta 88 doesn't do that. It says, "Tell me a little bit about your business." You can simply say, "I want to start a landscaping business in California, in Orange County, California." That's all I say. Go. I pay my $97, and 88 minutes later I get an email with all my files. And we'll walk through and show the process in a bit, but I mean it's very simple, it's very rudimentary. So you don't have to go through in this template, and you don't have to do that. It's just very easy. If you have an idea, it's like I can have it out. I could say, "Oh, this plan doesn't work for me." Oh, you know what? I have it 3 weeks later. I have another plan. Some people are like that, right? But when you're an advisor and you're helping people, it's the easiest way to get the information you need. I can't explain the simplicity of it. It's just that easy. If you just share information about your business, a plan can be created for you. And I think the speed of technology, that's what everyone wants, right? In fact, we don't even dial phone numbers anymore. We say, "Hey Google, call," and it does look, and it jumps right up. Hey, it's ready to go, right? So we do that now because of efficiency. Maybe everyone doesn't do that, but those who want to be as fast as possible, they do that. They say, "Hey, call," or "Hey, do," and we want it done. We want the result. We don't, and we'll back up and talk a little bit about why we came to creating this, Natalie, whenever you're ready. But they don't want to go through the process of doing the things. Do they have to? Yeah. At some point, you're going to have to look down at the documents and critique them so that you know exactly what steps to take and how to take them. But you don't have to spend 6, 7, 8, 9 months creating them. And
Right. Yeah. You so you need to
that's
know
really
how to
important.
run your business. You need to know how to follow your recipe if you're serious about being successful in it. Um, I want to play a little bit of a devil's advocate here, just because I know this is where my husband and I kind of don't always see eye to eye on things. But he
Right.
would say, um, one thing that's always missing with AI is there's no human connection there, right? So that
Mm.
human connection's missing, and then even still, if you're not someone that's used to using technology, how do I even feel confident, right? How do I know that this is correct and adequate for me? would be, I know that'd be the first two things he said: human connection, there's nothing to him like sitting kneecap to kneecap, right? You know
Right.
me, I'm efficiency. So I'm like, want to give me 8 back-to-back appointments on my computer, I'm in, right? I'd
Right.
rather run 8 to 8 back-to-backs and get her done. And hey, my husband's not that way. He'd rather have 3 appointments, sit somewhere together, right? Total opposite. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's a valid thought, and I think that's part of why it's built the way we've built it currently. And it's not in its final build. We're going to continue to build on it and make it better with platforms and all of the yada yadas that come with it. But right now, the way that it's developed is when a customer orders their documents, well, I get that email. Personally, I get that email, and I run it through the bot. And here's what I do, which is really what takes up most of the 88 minutes, to be honest with you, because AI does that lickety split. In less than an hour, AI is done. What I do is I go through and I review the documents, because if I'm not satisfied with the documents, I'm not sending those documents. Or I'll send those documents and I'll send an email that says, yeah, you have your documents, but on this page or on that thing or over here, I noticed it didn't provide enough details. And I'll run another version of it. There's one client, I've ran the version 5 times and they never asked for it. I just ran it 5 times because I guess I'm a perfectionist in that way. There's certain things that need to be there. Certain things I know can't be there, certain financial information, but for the rest of it, it should be there. And if I don't see it, that's that human interaction. It's just not delivering from a system and then you figure it out. And then you have to call support to get it rectified. Now we're in the middle of it. So that's that personalization. And we want to hold on to that for a little bit until we are confident that AI is producing the results that the clients want.
So AI has literally been the game changer for whatever it is that you have to do or have been doing. ID Systems just happens to have been creating solutions to problems for business owners. Yay. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's
Indeed.
right.
Indeed.
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 Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I know that I did really kind of want to get into that AI conversation more, because I know that there are people, it's so part of who you are, Carlton, and so part of your world and what you're in. And now I've been part of this with you for the last 3 years, right? I've gotten into the AI train where it's completely shifted the way that I feel about using it. But I know there are people like me who either just feel overwhelmed with trying to use technology in general, right? If you haven't grown up with it,
Right.
or it is scary what goes on with AI, how they can clone our voices, and people are imitating us on social media all the time.
Right.
I mean, if you're on social media, you're somewhere else too. Sorry to break it to you. And so can you just talk about that a little bit and kind of talk
Sure.
about
Absolutely. And there's definitely a difference when I say AI. When I'm saying AI, I'm really looking at the large language models, the LLMs. So for those of you who don't know what the LLMs are, those are your ChatGPTs, your Geminis, your U.coms, your Barbs, these large language model platforms that have been trained on so much data that it has the capability of responding to you just like Siri responds to you, just like Google responds to traffic when you're driving using their maps, right? It automatically says, oh, hey, there's a traffic stop, alternate route, save you 4 minutes. Do you want to take it or continue on the same path? And you go, stay on course, right? So we're already using AI more so than we're using large language models. When we think about large language models, it makes me think of being a kid again. It makes me think of when I wanted to research things, Natalie, I would go down into the living room and my mom would have I think everyone had them because people were selling them, door knocking and selling Encyclopedia Britannica. So I would go down to Britannica and I would bust out the Britannica and I'd do my reading. And if it wasn't there, I'd have to go to the library. Yeah, I'm talking to all you Gen X's out there, right? We have to go out there and then we have to go to the library and do that research. And if it wasn't enough, you can go to the microfilm. You can start scrolling, right? Well, we by all means, we've elevated past that. And now we're into the mode of, well, if you got a question, just ask Google, right? Or ask Siri. So we go to Google. Well, what does Google actually provide us? It provides us links to more information about that subject, links to keywords that are associated with the topic you brought up. So if I said, distance between Earth and Mars, it would give me all these articles, a list of articles and blogs, kind of like the Yellow Pages. Let's just think about it for a second. Kind of like the Yellow Pages. It just gives me a list of stuff that I have to click on and go in and go, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Click. Well, the difference is with the LLMs in your chat GPTs, when you say, what's the distance between Earth and Mars? It tells you the answer, right? And because it's so creative, you could say, okay, write me a story about that has to do with my product or service. And of course, you can have this conversation about anything, about my product and service and the distance of the Mars relationship, and turn it into a song. Well, 30 seconds later, you have it. So you can't do that with Google. So the reality is that the data points that are there are made to communicate your language, or communicate your language back and forth, so you can have a conversation with these particular LLMs. ChatGPT-4 is my favorite, right? So that's where I go. And if I want to have a conversation, I say, hello, good morning, and I say what I want to say. And it'll just take off. And we can have a conversation. And I get all the data that I could potentially get now.
Well, and they're getting data on you, right? So it's great because they're learning how to respond to you. Like if you want them to write something for you, what's Carlton's language? How would he write it? It's getting data on you to give you feedback based on how you'd want to receive it.
Absolutely. And as far as the AI pieces are concerned, the tools that could, render any image, DALL-E or any of those tools, or Sora, I think it is, or any of these bots that can interconnect like a Zapier that could do a task on a platform. Yeah, all of that's AI. And some people, of course, as technology advances, there's always going to be a group of people who are going to use it for reasons other than, why it was created, right? But AI is not going to hack your computer. AI is not without someone controlling it and making it do that, right? So hackers get better. Well, so did the artist, and so did the musician, and so did the business owner, and so did the market. Everyone gets better. It's not, oh, this is how you alienate that. That's something that we have no control over. And the data that comes out of there, just figure, it's been fed over 10 billion data points. So now here we go, flashback, Carl's going downstairs to the encyclopedia to look at this topic. Well, that's one person's opinion on that topic, where there's 10 billion data points in AI summarizing all of that information to give you a more, a more
broad view, maybe?
Broad view. That's a better explanation, a broader view of that. And then if you wanted to go deeper, you could go down that rabbit hole, and it'll tell you. And I'm not saying that it doesn't make mistakes. This is why we read through the documents. But they do. It makes mistakes because too much information coming in and out of it. But nothing's perfect. But we have to use what we have in order to reduce the deficit that exists. Because, of course, from I2 Systems, as you know, Natalie, our focus is reducing that death rate and increasing the revenue rates for small businesses. That number hasn't changed since 1991, right? No matter how much technology has been developed, no one's changed that number, right? There's still a large number of businesses failing by year 10, and $250,000 is the gross revenue for 84% of businesses in the United States. And most experts say they didn't have a plan. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have a marketing strategy. They didn't, all these little fine pieces, but they all go into the business plan. So when I look at AI,
you know what that makes me think of, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm hoping you do, but it makes me think of why most people buy a business is because they're buying the system, really, right? Why are most people buying franchises? They're buying the system that the franchise goes, right? If you go to McDonald's, every McDonald's is ran the same. Anyone can own a McDonald's, right? They just go in and run the system.
Correct.
My guess is when you buy a McDonald's, then something like this has to be part of it. You have to have all these documents done. It's like, okay, this is what our plan is. This is what we're going to do. Because I know when you buy a franchise, you have to sign a legal document that says, hey, more than likely you're going to fail at this. The odds of you succeeding in this are not good. Sign your life away. Let us know that you know that, right? That's part of your franchise agreement. So I'm going to assume that they're going to have all these other pieces on there, like who is your, ideal client, just stuff like that, right?
Absolutely.
It's all going to be part of it. They're going to have, that's what you're paying for, right?
Absolutely. When you're buying a business, you're buying the business system, right? The trademark, the name that allows you to use that trademark and name. So that means you can tap into an existing audience. The other part of that is, to your point, Natalie, is the systems. The key part is your systems. Let's look at two different systems. You go to Starbucks and order a coffee, 1 cup of coffee. And by the time you get from where you order to that window, your coffee is not made. Not made. You're going to wait a couple seconds, maybe even a minute or two. You go to McDonald's and you pull around that window and you order a family meal for everybody in the car, including the toy with the Happy Meal. And by the time you get to that window, they're passing you your bag saying, thank you, have a good day. Why?
Right.
Because their systems are different. And that's having those systems in place are key for those businesses. And that's how they're able to monitor and manage the analytics that come back, all the data that comes back. What's working, what's not working, what's selling, what's not selling. Is there too much salt on the fries? Do we need to lower the salt consumption? Because if we lower salt, that means it tastes a little bit better and we save a little bit more money, right? Because we're not pouring as much salt tomorrow. So all of that data comes back. So when you buy a business, you're buying the system. When you start a business from scratch, you have to develop your system. You have to develop your system. And everyone thinks they have the idea system until, how Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Then it's like, oh, that didn't work. Do we sit over here and talk about why it didn't work, or do we go fix it? Which one are you going to do? Right?
Plus, I feel like it's kind of a waste of time. It's like reinventing the wheel. It's been invented. Like there's a system for your business. Just follow that system, right? It's 2024. So you're not doing anything new, really. The new thing about your business is you. That's the new part of your business, right? I know Lori on Shark Tank, she was talking about that. She's like, look, people, more than likely the invention's been out there somewhere before, but what makes it different is you representing it, right?
That's exactly
You're the differentiator.
Right. I heard someone say the other day, Natalie, that McDonald's doesn't sell the best burgers. That's not why they've sold over 1 billion burgers. That's not what made them famous. Their ability to market is what made them famous, right? Starbucks, same thing. You take Starbucks, set it across from a Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks is going to win all day. Who knew what Starbucks was? No one. Someone said, hey, I went there and I got a coffee and it was good. And you went through, you tried the coffee, you said, oh, it was good. Okay, I'm at Starbucks, right? You're still paying $8 for a cup of coffee. But at the end of the day, there's something else to it. There's an experience. There's a flavor. There's a something that you like. Not that you can't mimic that flavor somewhere else, but they speak my language now. Why? Because you converted to the mocha lattes and the frappuccinos, and you converted, with a little bit of caramel and the froth and it's like building a cake. It's like, hey, let's go. So yeah, it's all about the systems, and having those systems in place are key. And I think that's what kind of compelled us into where we were. Is we spent the last 8 years building a tool, Pillar 5, for those of you who know, we built a tool that walked you through the system, walked you literally step by step through the roadmap of building your business. Here's what we learned. No matter how many people went in that platform, no one got further than 4 steps, right? Why? There's too much work. I have to go sit down and realize and do the research on the buyer persona and have to figure out what that is. Oh, value proposition canvas. What is that? Oh, I got to do one of those. How do you do that? Oh, now you're going to teach me how to do it? Look, why don't you just do it for me? Why do I have to go figure this out? And people will find themselves trying to figure it out when the plan has already been laid out. The process is there, right? You could be 12 years old and build a business if you just follow the process. Mm-hmm. So we try to execute what we know versus following a plan because no one showed us a plan that works. So, because when we don't have that, then it's like, well, we're just going to guess our way through the process. And it hurts us later, no matter how much money we generate.
Exactly.
10 million, 12 million, 30 million, 40 million. You're like, what? We
We're
still
not
have
going to
this
guess our
energy.
way across the minefield,
That's right.
right? I always look at this. We're not going to guess. There's no guessing. There's no coming back if we hit it. But it should be the same thing in your business. You want to be, because it's taking away time and money, frustration. If your business is going to be successful, stress, all that stuff take you from cash spurts to cash flow. If you don't have a
That's right.
system, you're not going to have consistent cash flow. And it really helps you, I think, to have that peace of mind of, hey, I've maxed out my day. I've maxed out my system for the day. I'm not still beating my head against the wall. I can go home and now be with my family.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. That's absolutely right.
So can you show us a little bit? Can you take us to the website and show us a little bit, or maybe
Yeah, I'd be
bring up
happy to do that.
the client? See, yes,
Yeah,
work at home,
absolutely.
your own business.
So yeah, so let's talk about that for a bit. And Natalie, I want to kind of have I want to share a little bit of something before we jump into that. But one of the things we realized when we built out Pillar 5, which took us, oh my gosh, thousands of hours, and I heard a person tell me, don't tell a person how much time it took you, And then today I was watching a commercial, and they were explaining how many boxes of pizzas and late night hours and ballerina recitals that they had to miss in order to build this thing. And then it was like, oh, there's a lot of work put into that. So thinking about this particular Quanta 88, this thing just come up, and we just kind of haphazardly threw these documents in here because we know these are what people are talking about on social media. That's not what we did. The methodology to building a business was developed way back, and no one just followed it. And so we took that and we re-engineered it to make Pillar 5. Well, in order to build the Quanta 88, we thought, well, if this is the system, then this is how the AI or the bots in the back need to build on that business. And if it doesn't work, if our system is off by one step, the system is going to tell you, it's going to say, I don't have enough information to do this thing. You haven't given me enough data, right? Well, we perfected it so that we put in one piece of information. I want to start a landscaping company in Orange County, California, and it'll literally go through every step for you. So you don't got to do it. So those people who were stuck in Pillar 5, the same amount of time they took to build one of those steps, this system does it, all of the steps. So this is the change that we made by utilizing AI. So let's jump in and take a look at it.
Yeah, and just to expand on that a little bit while you're bringing it up, it shouldn't diminish the value, right? So many times are like that pizza, so we put all these hours in it and grind, sweat, and tears. Let's reframe that thinking, right? It doesn't
That's
just
right.
because don't we want to work smarter, not harder?
That's
so
exactly
this is one
right.
of the ways that you're able to do that. Everything doesn't have to be a grind. Let's leverage what we can leverage, and technology is one of those things that we can leverage to move faster in the game. So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I always say when people say, well, I don't really like AI, AI is something that scares me. It's going to take over the world. They watch too many Terminator movies. And I say, okay, well, when you're traveling from California to Florida to see Tehran, do you stop at the gas station and ask for a paper map, or do you turn on your Google map? And they go, oh, I turn on my Google map. I said, oh, that's AI. They go, oh, but it's different. Well, I'm not really understanding that. How is it? It's a tool, right? And we just have to know how to use it. We don't think it's going to make a mistake.
The question you're asking it is how to get to your destination. If you were asking it a different question, it's just like asking any other AI, just a different question. But you're asking yes, how to get there.
Absolutely.
I love that, Carlton. That was
good. So yeah, here's Quanta 88. So if a person wanted to get a business plan, I'm going to show you exactly how this works. We spent hours helping clients. I've spent thousands of hours helping clients put together business plans. Some of them launched, some of them didn't. Some of them are successful, some of them aren't, right? It's how they interact with their business. But I realized the moment that I used it, it immediately sped up my process. I went from weeks of conversations to 1 hour, and we had all their documents. It changed the whole face of my advising service. So if you wanted to get Quanta 88, they would just go to quanta88.com right now. Go to idosystems.com/Quanta88. But they would just go.
The banner on the bottom of the screen.
Yep, the banner on the bottom. And they just click get your business plan in under 88 minutes. They land on this screen. And remember, the information is customized to your business. So if you put in your business name, it knows who your business name is. If you say an industry, it's going to stick to your industry. Or if there's something specific, a specific target, whatever, as little or as much information you want to put in, you can put in. So here you just put in your information. So tell us about your existing business. And let's just say start a landscaping company in Orange County, California. That would be my response. That's it, if that's what I wanted to say. Then I put in a little information about me so we could get the documents back, right? So I just plug in a little information, put the one before your number, of course, so they can recognize United States, and then get your business documents, right? It jumps. And now it shows me the 88 documents that I'm going to get. Here's a list of these documents. We're going to look at some of these documents in a minute. But here's the 88 documents that they get, right? Most importantly, most people are coming for the business plan, but there's organic marketing strategies, inbound marketing strategies, industry analysis, market analysis, buyer personas, marketing KPIs, lead magnets, sales plans, blah, 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 right? There's a boatload of documents in here. You can just see me scrolling through all of these, right? And right now, we're just moving them at $97, right? We're just giving people access to the information as fast as we possibly can. They fill in their business information, and 88 minutes later, they will get their stuff. So let's talk about what it looks like. What are they actually getting? So when it's time to get, what they're going to get is they're going to get a zip drive that they can download their documents, put it wherever they want to put it, save it wherever they want to save it, print it if they want to print it, however they want to utilize that document. But if we'll also send them a link to a Google Drive that we house for them, and it'll have their business name. And then here are all the documents. Now, the beauty of this is there's an index in this, okay? And I'm going to just get rid of these two right now, just so I can move those out the way. But it provides an index, and I'm going to open up and share that index. Let's open that. Can you see it? I don't know if the screen can catch it. It might be too small.
I see the link.
But anyway, so yes, exactly. So every document has a link to it. So you don't have to go scrolling through folders and searching through folders to find whatever document you're looking for, right? You could see, I'm going to blow this up, right? You could see the folder name right here, marketing, launch plan, all of these documents, right? So let's just take a look at one of these documents. Here's a one-page business plan, right? Let's just take a look at that because that's the first thing that most people go to. So here's what the one-page business plan looks like coming out of it. So it's formatted, and I'm gonna blow it up some more here. I could probably blow it up a little more looking at the screen.
I can see it, Carlton. I just blew up my screen, so just
good. So it's formatted.
But I can see it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so it breaks down the business, right? And this is just an example.
Well,
this doesn't have your information in it, but that's right. Products and services. It breaks them down. It does a complete market analysis. Now, of course, these are just short bullet points because there's no content in there. Market strategy used, tofu, bofu, and bofu. Again, this is a blank plan that doesn't have anybody's information, but these are actually filled out for that business owner with all of their information on it, based off of, again, AI going into marketing, going, oh, you want to do a landscaping business? Well, here's the data around marketing, around businesses in your industry that matches what you're doing. So I could create a plan for anybody with that data, right? And it does, and it creates that plan for them. Now, of course, again, there's way more details to these documents. You can see it says your business name, so it doesn't really have, a full marketing strategy in this. And I don't want to share any of the client's information out here.
So we have a question. It says, is every document specific to the business owner's business or idea, or is it just a generic summary that explains the doc? So it's specific, right, Carlton?
Very good. Yeah. So it's tailored and customized to the business. It is not a general, here's what this document should entail. It's not a template. That's the key. Right. Most times, like if you go to Live Plan, so I got to talk about our competitors. If you go to Live Plan, they're going to say, here's a template. Here's a summary of what that looks like. fill in the information. Again, they're back in our old mindset of pillar 5 of you got to put in the information. We're not going to get that data for you. And that's where we separate, right? Live Plan doesn't bring the data in. You have to put the data in manually.
Yeah. Well, I just think of this. It was like when this last business that I had with my business partner, it was like, okay, we need to do a vision and a mission statement. So Google, how do I do a vision statement? How do I do a mission statement? And then come up with it and then put the words in and then make sure it wasn't like every other person's right statement. And this
Absolutely.
one just knocked it out for you. And it's
Absolutely.
like to get a document like that within, less than 2 hours, we'll call it. To me, I get that. I'm so excited about my business. I'm like texting people. I'm calling Sam is annoyed with me at this point. I promise you that, because I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, blah, 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 blah. It stretches your vision. It makes you, again, it takes your belief system to just a completely, completely different level. I was thinking about this today because I published my 5th children's book this last week.
Okay.
And I have many that I've been working on for the last 6 months, but it's always right. They're works in progresses, and I'm working on illustrations and finishing stuff. And some I get frustrated with, blah, 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 whatever. But I just did my longest one, and it's one about money, and it's 74 pages. So I'm watching this thing today, and they're going in and they're remodeling this lady home who's a self-published author, right? And she's got all this money, and they're demoing out her house. And I'm just like, I just did a 74-page book. If I could do a 74-page book, I could do a 150-page book, right? I could do exactly what she's doing. And so I was just, woo, my whole, right? Sam's just like, my wife is crazy, right? I'm like, and then we're going to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. But it just really got my going. So when you get a document like this, and it's like, this is your vision statement, this is your mission statement, this is what your ideal client looks like. You're not having to guess. You're like, dang, all I do is follow this recipe. I can literally just start taking action. I'm fired up. You don't have to talk to me about how many hours am I going to work towards my business today. My passion when I'm getting home, really, I'm just getting started because I'm so fired up about where I'm going and what I'm doing. And then I have clarity on my vision. Off our list, right? It's just like, yeah, baby, I'm just going. Next chapter, we're just going and growing. And it's just, so, I mean, obviously, I'm not even going through Quant 88, but I get it. I mean, I have gone through Quant 88, right, in my stuff, and it's just an amazing product. It's exciting to think about what this does for business owners.
Absolutely. It's a fast start. And I'm sure that this particular client, fast start, right? How do I say it's your idea, your business, your plan, just faster. That's all. That's what we're offering, speed. So I'm going to share this client's outbound marketing strategy just so you can get an idea. I know I haven't asked for permission, but I'm sure they'll be comfortable. They're probably watching. They'll probably throw me a thumbs up in a minute, like, okay, you're good. But I just wanted you to see how this breaks down. So it has the executive summary. So outbound marketing strategy for Johnston's Marine Services. This is the second version. So the system is redoing different versions to make sure it gets the right information to the client. So when it does a business plan, it just doesn't do one. It does a draft, and then it goes through a series of information to make sure it gets all the data, buyer persona, industry analysis, competitive analysis, market analysis, SWOT analysis, TAM, SAM, SOM, goes through all those things. And then it goes, okay, now that I have more data, let's do a second business plan. And then it goes again through another 50 pieces. And then it says, okay, now I have all the data to create you a comprehensive business plan. Right. So it's walking through the steps. It's not just jumping and spitting out a business plan. It's walking through all of the steps, that sequence we talk about that is so relevant to business development. It's just doing it for us in less than an hour, which there's not even, we would spend more than an hour just trying to research one component. Right. Like if no one here understands what an outbound marketing strategy is.
You and I have.
Oh my gosh, have we, right? Oh my gosh. But just take a look at this marketing strategy, right? It's got the business objectives, the executive summary. Here's the business owner's name in the middle of it, and the business owner has this and they're satisfied with what they have. Here's the marketing strategy, their revenue model, their operational plan, their financial projections. Doesn't have the spreadsheet because it doesn't have the actual numbers of the business, something that can be created very easily, key milestones, and then there's a conclusion to the business plan. Now, this can be taken and you can improve on this and add more data, more information. We don't want individuals to provide their personal financial data into the system. So this just gives you everything else to go, right? And again, I have to emphasize, someone just did this Sunday night. One of our clients bought it on Sunday night, sent it to their CFO that night. By the next day, they presented their plan and pitch deck to an investor, and they won.
$1 million.
$1 million deal right there.
$1 million deal. They invested $97 into their business and got $1 million investor in return.
In less than 24 hours.
In less than 24 hours, exactly. But you cannot have this and not look like you're someone who knows what they're talking about, right? It just goes through everything.
Absolutely.
And if you actually read the documents that it sends you, if you're serious about your business, guess what? You freaking know what you're talking about too.
Absolutely.
It just gave it all to you.
Absolutely. And that's a key. And I'm so glad you said that. I think there's a market out there that when they get the documents, they're going to think, oh, they're done. I'm ready. I can go. And to your point, you have to know your documents, right? Because if the TAM, SAM, SOM, total addressable market, a serviceable area market, serviceable addressable market, and serviceable obtainable market, if it's in your plan, but you don't know the data and you're pitching, well, that pitch isn't going to go very well because you don't know the data. And again, this is why, we at I Do Systems, this is why we realize spending the time to get the data is good because you learn in the process. You understand why you're doing it, what the information is, and how it impacts your business, your market, your audience, your pricing, and everything. But if someone gives me all of the documents and it tells me to just go through my documents and tweak them, I get the same knowledge. The only difference is I get it faster. So Natalie, here's an example.
So that was going to be my question for you on that is, do you recommend, because even like getting all those documents with it being something that you don't know a lot about,
right,
would be overwhelming to me, right?
Sure.
So is there, should they be working with a business coach, let's say, or have someone already in their life of, hey, is it their CFO, their, business partners or whatever that they're going through all this stuff with first and saying, okay, here's where it's easy for you and I to say, well, of course you get started with the business plan because you've been doing this so long, right? But, how do people not get overwhelmed by that?
Well,
still
and that's
documents.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a true statement. So there's two types of people. There's the individual who has that research capability, the knowledge, they're comfortable in reading through 86 documents and comprehending those 86 documents and tweaking those 86 documents on their own. I don't think there's a lot of people in the entrepreneurship world that are of that caliber. There are people of that caliber. Most people will need someone to guide them, right? There's even me. I'm going to need someone somewhere, whether it's on the finance side or if I'm creating a logo. I'm not an artist. I need an artist. So the experts are still needed. And we will always say you should always have an advisor or a strategist if you're a business owner and you're getting started, because they're going to point you in the right directions to make sure you're not chasing the shiny objects, to make sure you're not putting the cart before the horse. Those are the things that your advisor is going to do. Some people will say they hold me accountable. Okay, I understand that. But more importantly, it's the direction. It's the meeting, Natalie, that I have when I'm talking with a client and they say, yeah, I understand all those documents are there. And I know that I don't have my buyer persona right. I know I don't have my marketing strategy right. But I'm putting together this YouTube channel so that I can sell my widget. And then you would stop and say, okay, well, who are you selling your widget to? Mm-hmm. Right? Well, everybody could use it. See, and it's like, okay, stop. I got to take you back to your buyer persona. Here, who will buy it? Because as Gary Vee said, you can have 1 million likes all day. You might have 0 sales. Sounds
right, who
good.
are you selling to?
That's right. Right? Not who likes your commercial. How many people I know like the old Budweiser commercials that were in the Super Bowl. But guess what? I didn't drink Budweiser. Yeah, I gave you a like, but I'll never drink it. So we have to make sure that these documents represent who we're serving and what we're doing, especially our business. And we always talk about this, Natalie. Our business and ourselves are two separate entities. We have to treat the business as its own entity. So just because we know doesn't mean the business knows. Just because you know the process to run StreamYard in the back,
Yes.
doesn't mean everybody that gets StreamYard knows how to run a document in the back. There's two different individuals there, right? We both got StreamYard. I know how to run it. I don't know how to use it. Two different people, right?
That's why you're in the back. when you're not here, Shannon and I are like, all right, we're pushing buttons tonight. We're figuring it out, right? Hoping something sticks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just love the opportunity to really help entrepreneurs. Our company is, that's our mission. From day one, Tehran and I were like, our job is to help the entrepreneurs. Yeah, there's business owners out there that are, 800,000 and up, 500,000 and up, 250,000 and up, right? But if we think about that, they only make up 14% of the business market in the United States.
Yeah.
So there's another 28 million business owners that are like, a plan? Oh yeah, I have one of those on my shelf. I think I wrote that 3 years ago. I don't follow it. I mean, it was really just my idea, right? And it was that word, as Tehran and I were having that conversation, it's just my idea. And I was like, I remember there was times when I had ideas. I wish I could just put it in something and get back a full plan that I could review to make sure my idea made sense, right? Do I even want to go forward putting $100?
Do I even want to do this?
So I was like, well, if it cost me $97, if it cost me $500, that's $500 that I would spend, but I would save thousands if I made the wrong decision without my plan and just took off to build the business and said, I'll fix that later. So back to your point about the experts, we do need the experts, and they should have an advisor. They should have a strategist, and that strategist, even though they're doing their marketing and they're trying to drive sales through their channels or whatever they're doing, they can still bring them back on those advisory calls to say, yeah, but don't forget, you still got to work through this document, make sure that it matches your audience, and now go tweak your marketing, and they'll see the immediately improvement, right? Because I didn't know who my buyer was. Now I know who my buyer is. I'm even gonna speak differently, right? My marketing is different. My content is different. My ads are different. My visuals are different. My website is different. Everything is different because I know. And that's the thing that as entrepreneurs, we understand. We don't know what we don't know. And the faster we can get information about what our idea, the more interested we are. Otherwise, we spend months networking, trying to find experts to answer a question. Hey, should I put a profit and loss statement inside of my financial projections? What if I haven't had a business yet? What if it's just a projection? I don't know what I'm going to sell it for. What if, right? It's like, spend $97, go make yourself something to eat. 88 minutes later, you have it. You have your answer, right? Go for a walk, go on a boat ride, go walk your dog, go jog, whatever. Go watch a Netflix series. I don't care. 88 minutes later, you have your document. So it just makes life so much easier. And for advisors, it makes their life easier because now when someone walks up, they're not just saying, I have this idea. They're saying, I have all these documents of my idea. Now help me do this. So it makes the advisor's job a whole lot easier.
Does it include your exit strategy for your business?
It doesn't. It covers the first 88 steps in a long cycle of business development, right? Again, because when a person is starting, should they think about their exit? Yes, they should think about their exit. I think that conversation should be with their advisor, because there's more intimate details like, are you single? Are you married? Do you have insurance? Do you need life insurance? Do you need to talk to a Natalie? How does your future look? And you might say, yeah, I work at McDonald's and I'm trying to start this business. I'm not thinking about exiting. I'm just trying to replace my job with this job, But then when they get to look at the documents, like, well, that's going to be a lot more work than I thought. I don't think I want to do that. And that's okay. That's okay. I spent the $100 to realize, I don't want it. I don't want to do that. I thought it was going to be easy. No, not doing that. I'll think of something else, or I don't really love that. It was just an idea. I'm not wasting my time with that. but it's also the document to help you say, ooh, you know how I can make this even better? Oh, I know what I could do. And they can improve on that and they can build out the business model they want. So that's what I think, the documents help with.
Yeah, and it just helps get the conversation going. It makes me think of, and again, this is why that the power of associations is so important. But I mean, how many times I've called Shanna all fired up about something, and she'll ask me some questions, and usually by the third question, I'm like, yeah, no, I want nothing to do with it. I'm totally just kidding. Did not mean it.
So true.
But, so you kind of need those people that you can be, because I was like, wow, do I want to do that at the end of the day? Is that how I want to spend my time? And the answer was no. Most people really are just thinking money, money, money first, right? They're not really
Absolutely.
thinking about, am I going to enjoy how I'm spending my time if I'm doing this forever? And if I'm willing to work that hard. I think about, in fact, next week's expert that's going to be on, he started a landscaping company. He had no entrepreneurial background, didn't come from any of that stuff. And so I told him he sold it for 10 million, started another company, it was a landscaping business, people. Okay. To have it sell a landscaping business for $10 million is a lot of money. And then now he has a nationwide landscaping. It's like the Uber of landscaping services, worth 50 million.
Wow.
So I asked him, because he was like, my son wants nothing to do with my business, right? He's that millennial Gen X. He's like, I am not working that hard, Dad, because he worked his butt off, obviously, to be able to do that. Now, he's a very innovative thinker. He really thinks problem solving, which is something that we're going to talk about on the show. But what was my point? I asked him, what was always your motivation? Because you go through so much stuff to build a business like that. And he said, one of the biggest things for me was I totally had a chip on my shoulder of that I was going to be successful. And I was going to make it, and I was going to be successful. Wow. But most people aren't, once you get in there, it's hard, right? It is hard work. Being an entrepreneur is not for the weak of heart. So
absolutely right.
I think it's important to know what you're getting yourself into with whatever. I think everyone should be an entrepreneur, don't get me wrong, but whatever business you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, and that's the key. Knowing is half the battle. It's like the old G.I. Joe model. Knowing is half the battle. So if I have an idea, the best way to at least look at that idea is to go and run a Quant 88 report, because it's going to show me my industry. It's going to show me my competitors, and what you're up against, right? So if you come in and say, I'm going to start a fragrance company, well, it's going to tell you, who you're competing with, right? Chanel. You're competing with Chanel. They own 32% of the market. They're worth a little over $200 and some odd billion. And then
which, by the way, they will probably sue you at some point during this process. Maybe more than once. How would that freak you out?
Right. So you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't want to do that. I didn't realize there were so many people doing that. Oh my gosh, I thought this was easy. Right. And it just gives you the reality. It gives you the information you need to make decisions, right? Intelligent decisions. And if you think what you have is worth building, then you build on what you get. These documents are the best starting points ever. And I've been through so many business plan structures, from getting a template from Live Plan to, sitting with the SBDC and just seeing how different people did it, other coaches. Yeah, it's long and tedious, just for general information. Because that's all we ended up with was general information, my value prop. We spent an hour talking about my value prop, and then next week we're going to come back and talk about buyer personas. And then the next week we're going to come, it's like, wait, stop, just stop. I can have all of that faster than you can start and run and end this masterclass. Then there's a time to have a conversation. So yeah, I absolutely love the direction of this thing. And again, the genius really lies with Tehran. It's the connecting of our methodology of understanding the processes and the systems, and just connecting that into AI and developing it in a way that was just smart and made it really easy for users to use.
Awesome. Well, I know it's taken off with the bang since the launch. It's really exciting. So congratulations
Absolutely.
To us.
Congratulations
and to all the
us.
business owners we're helping to grow, right? It's exciting. I know that, and at 6:00, so we'll wrap it up, but I know that we got like a group text from someone the other day because we just brought another 6 figures into their income into their business. And so the more that we're able to just do these things, it just gets more and more exciting. So
Absolutely.
great job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carlton, for joining us tonight. Thank you, everyone who has joined us live. And for those of you that are jumping on and watching the replay, do something today that will help you better your business. Go to idosystems.com/Quanta88. Check it out. See if it's for you, or maybe, hey, you have a business owner that you care about that you said, hey, you know what, this might not be for me, but it will definitely be for them. So we appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts